All right, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, continuing our look inside of the same exact room that we were in last time, except this time, instead of nighttime, instead of interior, lit by moonlight, person sleeping, pretty much the hardest lighting setup that you can possibly ask of a cinematographer, we're doing the easiest. Right? We're gonna do daytime interior. We're gonna look essentially 180 degrees, which is not that bad in a situation like this. There's not that much room to cover. A couple of downsides. The room is a little bit small. It's a little bit pokey, but there's no white walls. We're starting to win. We're continuing our look at exactly how we got this commercial done. Before we do that, though, I should mention the Patreon group. It's in the link in the description below. It's how you support the channel. It's how I'm able to do all of these things time and time again on all the jobs that I work on. The support that I get there allows me to do the breakdowns. As a little reward, you get more access to both past breakdowns, like stuff that we've done in the past like this. For the past 10 years, the podcast has been running. There's thousands of hours of either breaking down other people's work or my own, or nowadays, really, it's getting involved earlier on in the process. So one of the downsides of looking at something like this, if we jump in, one of the downsides is you're looking at the information after I have already organized it. Right, we've already taken, rather than just looking at raw data of this is the location that you've been given, this is the story that you've been giving, we've already organized it, like we've already chosen the angles inside this room. So you're not seeing that part of the process. If you want to see that part of the process, because that is the job, you can do it over on Patreon, because there we take you through almost in real time as the jobs are coming in, as we're making these decisions, what are the things we're leaving out, what are the things we're including, and yeah, that's what you get as a little reward for helping out and supporting the channel. So if you want more of this stuff, the link is in the description below. Okay, now this is probably this is the 4th or 5th volume of this commercial that we are looking at. Last time we looked at a nighttime interior in this exact same room, and really we should be paying attention to the wide here. In this same room, we shot a wide, not from exactly this same angle, but now you get to see the window that you didn't get to see in the last breakdown. If you haven't seen that breakdown, also the link is in the description below. So let's look just at the storyboard. Mind you, we have already chosen this angle inside of this location for this storyboard. So we're cheating a little bit. Why are we looking this way in the storyboard? Well, for that, let's go to the actual location itself. And we're going to jump out here, and really this is the angle that we have to look at. So we have, the scene is guy on the bed, and he's looking in the mirror, which is going to be against a wall. So he has to be looking in the direction that will allow him to see the mirror. And we have to be able to see the dog on the ground as well in the wide shot. Okay, those are what are being asked of us by the director. Now, the room isn't big enough to be able to do that, except on a very wide lens, which we don't want to do, because then we end up seeing more of the world. And as the room gets smaller and we start to see more of the world, that means we have to have, by default, there's less things that can be on the ground affecting the mood and the shape and the contrast. That is all of the lighting equipment. If we're in here, just imagine you're in this room, and instead of being out the doorway on a 50mm lens, compressing all this space, allowing us to have all of our little lighting elements inside where you can't see. Imagine we're in the room on a 14 and you're seeing, 270 degrees of room and floor space and ceiling. We're not able to do that much with the contrast and with the depth. And that's what we're trying to avoid. We want to give ourselves the maximum opportunity to do those things, right? So we could have, rather than have the guy sit here looking this way into the mirror, maybe we have him sit over on the other side of the bed. What's the problem with that? Well, the other side of the bed is right next to the wall because it's a little tiny room. So that immediately rules out that option. What about if we, if we rotate the bed, and now the head of the bed is over here, and maybe we place the camera in that corner, and now we're looking this way. Well, you'll know, if you are a veteran of the channel, you'll know that what we don't want to do in a situation where we have an office scene, and an office scene is defined by two people in a scene looking at each other, okay? What we don't want to be is we don't want to be on the side of the line that the light is coming from. So in this situation, we could either light from the window, which is how every home is lit in the entire world, or we could light from the wall on the inside, which is the easier, more natural thing to do. Well, it's definitely not light from inside of the house out, right? That seems incredibly unnatural. So we could be on that side of the line, like the far side of the line, if we chose to light from in here, except that's not practical. Doesn't make any sense, and it makes everything harder on us. And every step that we're doing in the pre-production process is to make things easier. We want to be more efficient, not less efficient, right? You wouldn't use a tool if it made you less efficient. That's the whole point of a tool. The framework is a tool to make you more efficient. So we know, just looking at the location when you walk in, right? Imagine, again, that you didn't have the storyboards. There's a window over here. We have a daytime scene. What side of the line do you want to be on? Right? Draw a line through the middle of the room. You want to be on this side, okay? Because that makes things significantly easier. Easier is good. Unless there is a very specific reason why you have to be on the other side, right? Like maybe somebody walks in the door and for some reason we have to be on that side of the line to catch them walking in the door. That's not the case here. Let's make this not super complicated on ourselves. What else do we need to know? Well, let's come back. Now you know why we've chosen this particular setup, this particular angle. What are we going to do with the lighting, right? What is the number one thing we are going to do with the lighting? I'll tell you the most challenging part about this particular shot. Can you see it? Right? This is like, can you spot the difference? Can you see what the most challenging part of this shot is going to be? Because I have my own thoughts here, which I will share with you now. The window that we want to light from is in the shot completely. Okay, now this is not normally what you would want. Normally what you would want is, let's say the mirror isn't here, right? And let's say instead of the mirror, there's another window. We would want to frame the shot like this, right? And then we could light through this window. And then we wouldn't have to worry about getting level through this window to illuminate our scene, because as you get level into the shears, they start to heat up and they start to blow out and it starts to look a little bit funky. And then it starts, like, to get the level that you would want on the key, you have to light these things up. That's not a good look. So I would say immediately, problem is that we are seeing the window that we are lighting from. So a lot of times that removes your ability to use shears, right? Because depending on how far in the room this person is, right? If they're right next to the window, okay, you can use shears. If they're way in here, inside the room, the light is not, it's going to have a hard time traveling all the way over there because you're softening it inside the room, right? The shears are not on the outside of the room, they're on the inside, which means the light comes in, hits the shear, and goes everywhere. And everywhere is not conducive to contrast, right? Because that makes the light go everywhere, and usually you're in here with white walls, and then it starts bouncing around, and all of a sudden it's looking very, very flat. So that's the number one concern when I see this is, how far in the room is this dude? And does that mean we can't use shears here? The closer that we get, the more likely it is that we're going to be able to use shears. The other thing I know already from the size of this wide, well, we're not going to be able to light up. We're not going to be able to create shape anywhere back here from outside. It's just too big. So if we come back to the location, all right, out here is where the window is that we're going to light from. We're going to need some solution for this back half of the room, okay? And if you watched the last breakdown where we did our nighttime interior moonlight, you'll know what that solution is, right? This is going to be a little LED source 4 number that you cut to the exact size white square that you put up just above the frame. And then that gives this backlit towards camera soft illumination of like, oh, I don't know where the light is coming from. It's just coming from nowhere, okay? That just gives you that room tone that you want, that directionless ambience in the background. So we know where our key is going to come from for this shot. For every other shot, it doesn't matter. Here, we never see the window. We're fine. Here, we never see the window. We're fine. Dog, we never see the window. We're fine. That shot we've already gone over in a different scene. This one, we never see, right? So we got window light, window light. These are all super, super easy. There's no fix. The only thing that takes any amount of time is this shot. Because when we go closer, what are we going to want to do? All these shots, what are we going to want to do? We're going to want to change the lens, which takes 2 seconds. Then we're going to want to soften the light and adjust the ratios between the foreground and the background because we've softened the light that is in the window that we can't see. And that means we're going to add contrast. As we soften the light, we're going to have to add contrast because it gets wrappier. So the only thing when we're sitting out here getting ready to shoot, right? We're going to start with the wide because it takes the most time to build. And hopefully they're building this while you're doing something else, because this doesn't take any, like, we don't have to be overseeing this build. It's just put the biggest light that you possibly have out the window, okay? Get it in the right area, and then let's blast it through the window. Then, as we get into shooting, as we're shooting this, what's the only thing you have to tell the grip and electric team to have standing by? We're going to need a 4x frame. We're going to need 2 4x floppies, and maybe like a poly, just in case we need to bounce some level up or help wrap this light around more. What we don't want to do, for the love of God, what you don't want to do is, well, let's actually go to what we shot to make it a little bit easier. Oh, I should show you the, these are the stills that the director sent through. This is the reference, right? What do you got? You got cool wallpaper, you got shears. You got no shears, but we're lighting from inside here, right? Like this, to get all the way over here, you see the problem. Here you have to light from inside. To get this level from this window, not possible. How are we going to do it? Movie magic, okay? Now, a lot of the times what you can do, even if you're on location, you'll see like, I think I've done a whole video on the past on locations that have this, but some buildings will have one set of windows here and then another set up here. That's like cinematography nirvana, because then you can do exactly what they've done here, and then you just actually light through the above window that's out of the frame. Here, this is just the mood, vibe, again, shears. Now you can see, because we don't see the whole window over here, guess what? They can light this part of the face, not through the shears themselves, but through the part that isn't sheared. And then you can soften that right there, like oldest trick in the book. And then what do you get naturally when you do this look? Just to, like, this isn't rocket science, okay? Don't tell anybody else this, or else they won't hire you. They'll just do it themselves. What do you get when you do shears inside and you light through the window that you can't see? I will show you the pattern. We get light, and then the shears, because the window ends, we get dark, which means the area right next to the window is going to be the darkest. Why is my pen small? Now, if we put his face over the dark part, the most illuminated part of the face, what are we doing? You guessed it. I knew it. I knew I wasn't wasting my time. I knew that you would one day catch on, and you too would make your stuff look nice. You want contrast between these two. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. And then what happens is if you shoot into the L of the room, right, which is the framework, if you shoot into the L of the room, the light from the window that is being lit up is going to be on that opposite wall. And that means when you have the dark part of their face, it's going to be on the light in the background. You're starting to see, hopefully, how this stuff all comes together, right? Is it rocket science? No, no. But who can be asked learning this stuff? Nobody, except for you. And that's why you're valuable to the team. What utility do you bring to the set? You're not going to move the lamps. You're not going to plug them in. You don't know what a kilowatt is. You don't know any of those things. What do you know? You know how to organize all of these little elements so that we can get into this world, right? And that's why you get the big bucks, okay? Or the small bucks, whatever. Okay, so let's go into what we actually shot here. You can see the whole system. Which should we start with? Okay, well, let's talk about the solution that we eventually had to come up with. Hello, what is that, the camera truck out there? I think so. Nothing like having a white vehicle just outside the, is that a vehicle? Looks like a window. That might actually be a bush. Anyway, that's the road out there. Okay, so what did we do? Well, you'll see the first thing that we did is we could not, I repeat, could not use shears. This dude's too far in the room. It started spreading everywhere. Even though we have neg all around, it was just too much. Couldn't get it done. Bit of a bummer, right? You would like the shear on here. Other thing is we would have loved, this is like the scene to have haze. Because if you have haze, we can play this whole thing way, way darker. And what do I mean by way darker? I mean, over here, right, where we've got our little LED bouncing into the wall up here to add some backlight, you can't really see it here. You can feel it here, right? You can feel it on his back. I would say, I mean, this is also a grade thing. I mean, you could take this down. You could take this way down. This feels a little bit lifted to me. But we got prac on in the background just to add a little bit of level, which won't make a difference here, but it does make a difference for all the coverage. You can see up here what this is. This window looks just like, well, no, this window looks like this window where you can see out. All we've done is put a piece of diffusion on the window, right? And that piece of diffusion means that it's softer light up here and it's harder light down here. So the M40, the little area M40 that is pumping the HMI juice into this scene, which is outside, that's doing hard light on the bottom, soft light at the top. You will know that that is the method introduced by Andrei Safab, one of the greatest cinematographers, who is unfortunately no longer with us. R.I.P. Andrei. So that's his move, right? And I give homage where homage is due, and that's the man. Go soft on the face, hard on the body. That's a rule for life. Okay. What else are we doing here? Oh, why is it important to put the M40 on this side of the window? Because we could put it, we want to shine it this way. We could put it over here and shine it that way. Well, if we put it over there, shine it that way, you lose, well, this streak would be going this way, and it would be running into the wall, and it would be bouncing all around, and it wouldn't look that nice, okay? So we decided not to do that. The only thing that we haven't talked about yet is this little number here, right? This little number is, in fact, just a little, what do they call them? A little P60? Felix. I think it's a Felix. And it's just got a little gobo on it, and you put it here. Like, notice, you don't just shine it against the entire door frame. Why not? Because that doesn't mix things up. It just looks flat then. We put a little gobo in it, you defocus the gobo, and you're laughing, right? We're just trying to get a little bit of an edge there. And you're like, well, it doesn't make any sense. Where's it coming from? Nobody cares. And in fact, when you're on set, nobody cares about this thing. This little thing, you're going to have to add at the last second as, you know, they're not happy with the color of the socks or something, right? This is like your last little 7 minutes. Ooh, I got an idea. Rather than have it look like, don't look at any of this. Look at this thing here. Is that exciting? I mean, it passes, right? It's a door frame. It's exposed. It's not going to distract from where we want everybody to look, right? That's the job of the cinematographer. We got to guide people's vision. This is on screen for, I don't know, 75 frames. We've got 3 seconds to show them. Puppy, dude, not having a good time. We don't want them looking over here. Like, we want to force them that way. So, is this okay? Yeah. Is this better? In my mind, it is. It's also fun. That's what's fun. It's like, I got a little harebrained idea. And then everybody at the camera, when you do this, when you say, ooh, I got a little idea, everybody's like, oh, damn it. Like, more work. We're going to have to bring out more kit. And you're like, yeah. What if we do, and it's very important, right? The delivery of how you do this, very important to the crew. You have to say, could we try? I don't know. You know, again, call me crazy. Have you got anything on the truck that'll do like a little slash here? Just a little slash. That's a much better delivery than going, hey, somebody get me the P60 and we're going to slash it across the wall there. And people are like, well, this dude's a bit gruff. It's not even going to look that nice, right? You got nobody on your side at that point. You want the person to go, I think I do have something like that. And you're like, okay, bring it out. And then you're looking like side eye. Like, hold on, did they bring out the P60? Or like, I'm just making that number up. I have no idea if that's the actual lamp. Did they bring out the thing that I was thinking? If they bring out the thing that you're thinking, then you go like, whoa, like, what's this? This is cool. If they bring out another thing, you're like, you know, side eye is like, this is not going to work. Like, I'm going to have to, how quickly do I tell them that whatever they're doing is not right? Anyway, just something to think about. That's the little bit that you add, just a little sparkle. Again, curtains are good because we can just pull these shut. This was a bit of a bummer. We couldn't schedule this, or the orientation of the road. It would have been nicer to get this in backlight out there. So it wasn't completely front lit, but this just goes to show you the dynamic range of the camera is crazy. Okay, we come into the next shot, and now you can see, like, look how much darker we have gone from here, really filly in the wide, really, really, really filly. It would have been cool to take that down more. We're just too far away from the wall. There's too much illumination happening here. We can't get enough level. How do you get enough level? Like, if you were going to do this, we need more level out of the M40, right? Because if we have more level here on the ground and on him, then we can stop down in the room, which kills the ambient. Okay, this is why when you have bigger lights, you get further separation, or it's easier to do that. When we come up, look at the difference between fill. Now we've gone way darker. And now we're still pumping up that LED over there to give us like this amount of illuminance over here. And you're like, well, it doesn't feel like much. Yeah, it doesn't feel like much. Well, why doesn't it feel like it doesn't? It just feels like it's natural ambient. That's the point. You shouldn't feel that there's a lamp over there. You should just be like, oh, it's just like the light has just carried perfectly enough to illuminate the entire room. Yeah. Anyway, here, 4x frame, can't see the light that's coming through the window. In it comes on him. We've got a little poly on the ground to wrap some of that light that was hitting the ground over to this cheek. And then we just take his body and we arrange it, like we angle it. So he's not looking this way anymore. He's looking this way. And that gets the light around a little bit more. And can you tell the difference? Don't lie. You can't tell the orientation is different between there and there. You just cannot. I know you can't. If you can, good for you. Okay, then we do the close-up. Same angle. Super, super easy. Now you see where that poly is. That's the poly is the eye light on the ground. This is the window. So we've got two. Is it cool that there's two? Meh. I would prefer one, right? It's kind of weird that there's two. But these are the decisions that you make on the day. You see how much blob there is here. Like, you don't have to care at all about there. It's just about finding some level. Would it be cool with more like hotspots? Yeah, but we got the shape. We got the shape right, which is all you want. And again, here, this is just, we haven't changed anything outside because changing stuff outside takes time. We put in 4x frame. We put in poly on the ground to add the wrap. We changed his angle and we put up floppies. That's it. And finally, we do the reverse for the dog. Now, reverse for the dog, the only thing we change here, besides putting in, you know, the dog pup light for the eyes, is we've changed the shape on the ground. This is the mirror behind him. We've changed the direction on the ground light. And how did we do that? You just said don't change anything outside. Correct, right? Like, see where this is way in front of the dog, which, by the way, we did this shot, just so you know. We did this shot as a plate, right? Because very hard to get the dog to just sit there. It's a puppy, doesn't know what's going on. So we don't move the camera. We do all of his action, get his performance perfect. We come in, you set the dog up, look him that way, and boom, then you comp it on top. You can see how much level they're trying to pump at that dog too. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, I'm talking about this slash. So this slash there, we don't have to change anything outside. All we do is we take these curtains, push them back that way. That brings this line from there to now here, and then we can see it in the mirror. We adjust the depth of the dog accordingly, and you got yourself a little shot there. Is it that easy? Yeah. I mean, what, took 15 minutes to explain, to do one shot? I don't know, I shouldn't have to explain that again, right? You've already got it. In your little brain, you now have that system. You can go out there and do it too. Will you? Probably not, right? Slightly easier said than done. On the day, you're gonna have to remember all this stuff. Somebody's gonna say it doesn't look nice. You're gonna internally start crying. Panic will set in. While I'll just be here, laughing, internally, like always. Okay, that's gonna do it for this one. Many thanks. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.